and she's Rosa Koire. And she is an executive director of the Post-Sustainability Institute. She is a forensic commercial real estate appraiser specializing in eminent domain evaluation. She, again, has written a book on Agenda 21. A book is excellent. We'll tell you about that as well, exposing Agenda 21 and sustainable development. In the minute or two before we go to break, just give people a synopsis of what Agenda 21 is, and we'll come back and break down this global corporate takeover system.
Well, you know what? It's not that it's going to impact you. It's impacting you right now. Agenda 21 is a plan to inventory and control all resources, human and natural, and all means of production in the world. And this is the process that is happening right now in every single city, town, community, in the entire world. And you're seeing it right now in the United States. It's a global plan, and it's implemented locally.
We've got about a minute and a half before we go to break. How did you get tuned into this? How did you discover this?
Well, I've been doing research. Of course, I'm a forensic appraiser. I appraise property in the 9 counties of the San Francisco Bay Area. And in doing my research, I found in researching redevelopment, I found that it's a funding and implementation arm for United Nations Agenda 21. And in doing this research, I had to be able to support everything that I was coming up with, because I might have to at some point testify regarding this information. So everything that I've come up with, and of course this is available to all people. It's very available on the United Nations websites as well as many others. This is all true and supportable. It's not a conspiracy theory, it's a conspiracy fact, and it's happening right now.
It's happening right now through the zoning boards, all of it. It is so diabolical. I've been to the Smart Growth conferences. They admit this is total feudalism. Right here in Austin, giant power bill increases, and they say it's for the earth, just charging you more. Nothing is going to affect your life physically, economically, like Agenda 21. It is the total takeover of society. Home inspectors, no more single-family homes. We've played that Plandopolis clip that they show in England to school kids, where everything you do is going to be monitored. You'll have to get authorization to travel. Calorie credits. This is all official. In fact, 20 years ago, they called it at the Agenda 21 conference. That's where the term comes from that they had. Maurice Strong called it a post-industrial world. And 20 years later, they're about to meet again in Rio de Janeiro. Now, we've got Rosa Koire, who's author of Behind the Green Mask. It's available at Amazon.com. I'm going to order it in bulk and also carry it soon at Infowars.com. But we have a link to where you can find it at Infowars.com right now. She has really studied it. And again, I've got so many points I want to add to back her up. But I'm going to try to shut up and let her roll here now, coming up especially in the next segment, so she can really go into how it ties into everything. But please continue.
Wow, well, great. You know, the thing is, this is not, as I said, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's a conspiracy fact. And back in 1987, the United Nations, the World Conference on, the World Commission on Environment and Development, stated that the environment was under attack, that the planet was being destroyed by human beings. And they came up with sustainable development. This is a concept. Now you've heard it everywhere, right? Sustainable. You've got sustainable yogurt now. But sustainable development is, the concept is that the needs of the present are developed without compromising future generations' ability to meet their own needs. So, of course, then they determined that, yes, everything we were doing now was threatening the ability of future generations to meet their needs. And that commission was sent out to come back with an action plan for the 21st century. And that's what Agenda 21 is. That's why it's called Agenda 21. It's the agenda for the 21st century. And this is, as I said, it's a plan to inventory and control you and everything that has to do with your life, everything having to do with the planet. So it's inventorying and controlling all water, all land use. We're talking about the potential of losing control of everything that we have, including our own bodies. And what you find with Agenda 21 is it's divided into two elements, which is smart growth and the wildlands. And what happened after, of course, we know that it was signed onto, Agenda 21 was signed onto by George H.W. Bush in 1992, and then it was brought back to the United States to be implemented here. Clinton, in 1993, established the President's Council on Sustainable Development, and that was made up of 12 cabinet-level secretaries, including defense, education, agriculture, energy. All of these, administrative level cabinet positions were all in on this, and along with, of course, our captains of industry like Ken Lay from Enron, Dow Chemical, and then you have the environmental groups as well, Natural Resources Defense Council and others. And they all got together and they said, how are we going to get Agenda 21 into every single town, city, state, county in the entire United States? So they decided that they wanted to focus on controlling land use. And what they did was they gave a multi-million-dollar grant to the American Planning Association. And they said, can you guys come up with a plan for us that we can get into every planning
Stay
department?
right there. Let's explain how. That's why there's global standardization. That's why the exact same system worldwide is being set up. They admit they're doing it. Now, Homeland Security, just 2 weeks ago, was at Davos and said they're going to run sustainability. It's a war for sustainability. Incredible. We're going to break down how it's already affecting you and how it's going to affect you straight ahead. Now, the Desert News and the Associated Press last week ran articles. Head of UN Ban Ki-moon wants world tax for social service programs, but that means eugenics, sterilization, abortion. But there he is announcing that they want this world tax. In fact, we'll put that on screen for prisonplanet.tv viewers. If you're a radio listener, which is the majority of our audience that listens on XM and over 100 AM and FM stations, you can simply type in UN leaders consider world tax to fund social protection services. Oh, well, it's for the children. Here's another one at Infowars.com with a direct link to the World Development Report funded by the World Bank. Suggests that once they've imploded the economy, go read it, and made people dependent, that to get your welfare check, the sterilization van will arrive at your home and sterilize you. 1984 World Bank report contemplates sterilization vans and camps for those to make it sustainable. The 1996 Sustainability UN Biological Diversity Assessment, I have it in my film Road to Tyranny screenshots, actually says use war to reduce population and calls for putting sterilants in the water, just like White House science czar John P. Holdren does. By the way, they're already adding it. It's called sodium fluoride. It reduces fertility, gives you a 7-fold increase in bone cancer alone. And we just earlier showed you the UN's own site where, in fact, I have another article right here. UN panel says retool world economy for sustainability, and the UN will decide under treaty what you can do. And now when I go in restaurants, they say, are you sure you want water? It's not good for the earth. Meanwhile, the major corporations can do whatever they want. They can release GMO, toxic waste. None of that's a problem. It's about teaching you you're bad. So as the World Bank says, by taxing carbon, what you exhale, they can control all human activity. And they always point a camera at a smokestack releasing water vapor on a cold day, just like when you breathe and say, oh, look, it's toxic waste. Nothing's coming out of the coal plants but water vapor and carbon dioxide. So you control everything that way, but then you also say all human activity is bad, and the bureaucrats, under global standardized rules, they will decide everything you can do. Now, as my guest pointed out, it's going to get a lot worse under this, and California is the model. Austin's kind of a satellite of that. But you're already living under this. So she's got the floor for the rest of the hour. She is just an amazing researcher and author of Behind the Green Mask. We have a link at Infowars.com to where you can find it. I'm going to carry this book on our online video bookstore. It's so amazing. And again, the reason she blows me away is when I heard her on the radio for an hour the other day, everything she was saying I knew was true, but the way she was tying it together, And again, it's so frustrating when you know criminals are taking over while selling you that they're saving you. It's so sick. You just want to beat them. And it's Nazism. The Nazis said the earth was overpopulated and they were going to have environmentalism. It's about a power grab. So Rosa Koire, Executive Director of Post-Sustainability Institute, a forensic commercial real estate appraiser, break down again briefly for those that just joined us what it is, the global standardization, and how they're controlling our local towns and cities to openly just triple charges for water, quadruple charges for power, to pay mega corporations like Ken Lay, who came up with the plan. You've got the floor.
Right. Well, you know, this is it. It's a corporatocracy, and it is being instated to develop a totalitarian government over you. It is one world government. This is globalization, and it's being instated slowly, somewhat slowly, although it's speeding up now, because we're finding that we're experiencing regionalization now, which is the erasure of borders between cities, counties, states, and ultimately nations. And when you lose your sovereignty, you don't want to just look at it in terms of losing your national sovereignty. You also lose your sovereignty over your person, over yourself. So you have for instance, the National Defense Authorization Act, which defines enemy combatants as being people who are very much like ourselves, who are here in the United States. So this plan, it's a global plan, but it's implemented locally. And if you think it's not affecting you right now, I tell you that you are wrong. It's impacting you immediately in your own city, in your town, out in the rural area.
It's designed, in their words, to shut down the economy. Look at the economy shutting down. They know what they're doing.
That's right. This is designed to, your economy is designed to be destroyed. This, you know, if an enemy were trying to destroy the country, they couldn't do a better job than this plan. And that is the plan. That is what the desired result is. Because the more dependent people you have, and the less people who own private property, the less people there are to care if there is private property and private property rights, and the less people there are to stand up and say that it's wrong. And you are your ultimate private property. So what's happening now is that we are losing our rights over our private property, over our water, over our land. You're finding people in the rural areas are being moved out of the rural areas into the cities. And the cities are being replanned to have high-density urban development. What that means is that smart growth, which is ground floor retail with several stories of residential above, built right to the edge of the sidewalk, right in the center of your town on a supposed transportation line, whether it's there or not, and oftentimes using your property tax dollars to pay for that. And what happens is the people in the rural areas find that, oh, well, you've just said it, hay dust is now considered to be an environmental pollutant. You find that your roads are being pulverized and turned to dust out in the rural areas. Your well is being monitored, so you may not have the use of your water. You think you own your land right from the center of the earth right to the sky, but you don't, not anymore, because this is a communitarian plan. It's the plan that actually balances individuals' rights against the rights of the community. In this case, we're talking about the global community, and the individual always loses.
And the bureaucrats always decide. You know, the part you were breaking down is how these regional governments end up getting the tax money, so the local government becomes a total vassal, and now they have actual corporations in Rhode Island, in Michigan, and other areas saying no city council, period, anymore, and we're going to triple your water to pay it to ourselves, even though it's a foreign corporation, and it's not even a free market. This isn't privatization. It's just pure hijacking. And then the actual Austin City Council said, we're going to give you 20 to 80% increases on power. It's for the earth.
Yeah, that's right. You see community aggregate, energy aggregation, where, you know, now your town is supposed to be going into the energy business, and they're going to put up a big solar array, and you're going to be paying for it. And this is the way that they sink your economy. When you look at it from that point of view, high-speed trains are a total failure and a way to lose your total control over your ability to spend your transportation dollars, because there's never going to be enough money for those high-speed trains. And this is a way to enforce regionalization. They are a building block for mega regions, and we have those right now in the United States. You've got your local regions within your states and sometimes breaking the borders, and then you've got 11 mega regions in the United States. You thought you had 50 states, but no, you don't. Now you have 11 mega regions, and you can go to America2050.org if you want to check that out.
Yeah, the governments and the UN admit all this, and the New York Times comes out and says, yeah, the UN's taken over, but you're bad because you don't want it. I have a map here based on UN documents that was that Congress presented, and it shows more than half the U.S. off limits. And people are like, they'll never do that. Where the UN has taken over third world countries, I've seen National Geographic where armed guards keep people out of the biospheres. And what it's really about is making the insiders' property values go up. They shut off America being able to mine Utah clean-burning coal. That doubles the value of the Chinese coal overnight. They shut down our pipeline out of Canada for oil. Now Warren Buffett doubles his money. Bloomberg reported overnight, shipping it by train to the West Coast to ships to go to China. Also, sustainable development is selectively enforced. Mm-hmm. Incredible. Stay there. It's ladies and gentlemen, it is so mind-blowing. And I've seen the UN meetings. I've been to them. It's all public, how they're going to pulverize our roads. They're already cutting off the funding. You can only then get on the big roads that they've built with huge toll roads on it. It is so nightmarish, and it has nothing to do with the environment. We're going to come back and break down this takeover with our guest, Rosa Koire. Stay with us. Okay, we're going back to our guest. We're giving you an in-depth report on Agenda 21, sustainability, smart growth, all of it. Now, remember, I've noticed, I've seen all over the country, there's Democrats against smart growth, Democrats against Agenda 21. The liberals are waking up to this right now because, especially in California, it is tyranny. Here in Austin, under Save Our Springs, they take 15,000 acres of ranchers' property, give them 5 cents on the dollar or less, make them sell it, eminent domain, that's what she's an expert in, and then they'd turn around and sell it off to the former mayor's buddies, and they'd build luxury million-dollar homes on it and shopping malls and spas and hotels, and they just laugh about it. I mean, so again, stuff's going to get developed. This is not about the environment. It's about insiders controlling everything you can do and artificially not letting you have your own well water. That's already starting. Rosa Koire, continue how this is already affecting people, how it targets the rural to force us into the compact cities, how it's already, and again, get back into how they control the zoning boards, because it's all on record, and it's global standardization. Continuity of agenda worldwide. This is New World Order. I showed AFP, Associated Press, where the UN admits global government, global tax through this. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, that's saying a lot. You know, I just want to go back to what you just said about the fact is this is not a left-right issue. It's not a liberal conservative issue. It's an American issue. I happen to be a liberal Democrat. There are many people who are waking up to this who are liberal, and we have a group. It's Democrats Against UN Agenda21.com. You know, when we talk about sustainability, first of all, sustainable development is United Nations Agenda 21. So you've heard that term. But what is unsustainable according to the United Nations and according to your government as well, the American government? Single-family homes, private vehicles, appliances, meat eating, dams, of course, golf courses, and many, many other things were identified as being unsustainable. And so you want to say to yourself, well, what kind of impact is this going to have on my quality of life? And I tell you, it's having an incredible impact on your life right now. Because as I was saying earlier, the President's Council on Sustainable Development paid the American Planning Association to come up with a guide that is now in every single planning department and every single university and college in the entire United States. And it's called Growing Smart, a legislative guidebook with model statutes for planning and the management of change. And just think about that, you know.
The UN and Ken Lay, who wrote all this, will control everything and can selectively enforce it. This is conquering our country by bureaucratic evil. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's true. Well, you know, you referred to Ken Lay, and he's supposedly dead, but I kind of don't believe that. But, you know, this was captains of industry. It's a corporatocracy is what it is. Public-private partnerships are your government combined with corporations, combined with nonprofit groups, NGOs, which are specific nonprofit groups which are recognized by the United Nations.
And they pick the winners and losers. It's this inside crony capitalist model. That's why Mitt Romney and all the major Republicans absolutely worship this.
Yeah, well, you know, you're not going to have, there's no silver bullet for this. You're not going to be getting, I shouldn't say you would never get a politician who would fight this for you. But, you know, it's up to all of us to make bad politicians do the right thing. And so I really want to encourage people not to be panicked or paralyzed by this. We need to take power, and we are doing it. I'm glad to hear that you're the headquarters of the resistance, because I thought I was. But we are being, you know, this is the resistance. Don't be a good German and go along to get along. These are land use plans. They're designed to get you out of the rural areas and into the center of your city. And every single one of these plans is called, it's called Vision Your Town, or Your Town 2050 or 2035. And they're going to call you to come on down and give your opinion of this great new plan for your town. And what they're going to do when you get there is Delphi you, which is a Rand Corporation mind control technique that is now being used on you by your government in almost every government meeting that you'll be going to. You know, you've never seen so many people's opinions being solicited by your government before. And the fact is that it's just the illusion of asking for your opinion. It's a window dressing. You are merely window dressing for these plans. These plans are pre-designed, pre-approved.
Well, as you know, I've actually read the Rand Corporation. I'm glad you raised that. Their Delphi technique, it does two things. It makes you think you're being listened to and then feel like you're at the table. But then they also gather intelligence on you in the process, and they train all these city people how to Delphi, and you're absolutely right. And as for us being the center of the resistance and wide spectrum resistance to the New World Order, but everyone out there, if you're listening to my voice, you are the center of the resistance against this global corporatocracy. But I agree with you. The work you're doing is some of the most piercing and focused when it comes to their key blueprint, Agenda 21. Now, continuing, though, how they're standardizing it, how they're coming in, because we were talking off air about how scared the system is and how they're now putting out manuals to cities to how to counter, how to laugh at you, how to act like you're crazy. The New York Times is coming out, freaking out, saying there's people everywhere fighting us. Our agenda's in trouble. And, of course, the next day they had an article about getting rid of the Constitution. They're showing themselves to be foreign globalist corporate traitors.
That's exactly right. And, you know, you'll see this propaganda. It's containment. And the reason that they've got it out there, they're really bringing out their guns now, is, well, not quite, but they will. But this is all about controlling us. It's a totalitarian state that's being developed right now. And so acquiring information about you, the American Planning Association is out there right now giving seminars on how to control and manage the people who, like us, who show up at their meetings, who say, hey, we don't want to be Delphi'd. We don't want your plan. Take your dog and pony show and get out of our town. And I want you to know we're doing this all over the United States. People are standing up and saying, no, we will not accept regional plans. We will not accept dissolution and destruction of our form of government, which is city, county, state, and federal. And you want to make sure that you keep it that way, because these are unelected boards that are made up possibly of elected officials, but they are designed to destroy the borders between cities, counties, states, and nations. In fact, one of the regions, we've got one in Northern California, one of the mega regions. It includes, parts of Canada. You've got the Southern California mega region, includes part of Mexico. You have these 11 mega regions across the United States that are effectively destroying your ability to have any impact at all on your government. And this is not what we want as Americans. They will want you to go along to get along.
All right, stay there. Incredible. Let's come back with solutions and more and break down how it's going to affect us in the future. You think it's bad now. You ain't seen nothing yet. I'm going to play you what they're showing school children right now in the U.S. and England, where they show them that every facet of your life is going to be controlled. It is unbelievable criminality. Stay with us. On screen, we have a map showing, according to the UN documents, over half the U.S. off limits to humans. This is what they want by 2020. This map is from, what, 1993. And they are freaking out. Of course, foreign mega corporations don't want your county and city and state having the authority, or even your own federal government. So they've taken over your nation. Look what's happening in Europe now. Even Time magazine says they've been captured and conquered by Goldman Sachs through fraud. Instead of going to jail like Bernie Madoff, they take over the world. And we're going to have Rosa Koire, who's with us for the rest of the hour, but this is a shorter show and has a different clock on the Sunday. She's going to be back Thursday for an hour and a half to go over even more of this. But I just want to back up everything she's saying. Now, in Australia and in the U.S., I've seen video games they have in public school. Even ABC News covered this, where little animals die. Bunny rabbits die and get their heads chopped off. If you breathe, carbon hurts them. And so the little kids cry and learn to hate themselves and learn how great suicide is. I'm not kidding. But they also show school children in England, and they have similar videos here. Well, you saw the video last year where, are you going to cut your carbon footprint? And the kids say no, so they blow the kids up in the class. Remember that? If you didn't see it, just type in green ads show kids exploding. It's all an anti-human agenda. But here's one of more than 10 videos they show children. And you think it's a joke, but this is everything sustainable development does. This is not a joke made to make them look bad. This is a video made by the London Guardian in association with the British government for sustainability. Here it is.
Oh, hi. I'm so glad you're on time. I'm V. I'm looking forward to showing you around Plandopolis today. My husband works from home. He's a virtual engineer working in one of the city's desalination plants. He controls the robots who do all the important maintenance. I think he basically plays computer games for a living. You ready to go? Have you got your calorie card open on your smartphone? I registered your visit with Slick Travel Corp the other day, so they've allotted you a journey time to match mine. It makes so much sense, doesn't it? Switch off brain and go to work. With this many people around, I'm glad there's a mega computer in charge. We're so lucky. Our kids were allocated a school quite near my practice, so I can drop them off on the way. It saves on our calorie ration. Well, it won't be long until the little darlings get their career announcements. They've been working so hard, so I'm sure they'll get something good. Not that there's anything wrong with fixing carbon scrubbers for a living or anything. Are you hungry? Let's pop to the market as we're passing. Right, what's on the menu this month? No, not meat. It's not your birthday. The Global Food Council are doing a really good job of keeping food production going.
All right, let's stop right there as our guest is here. There are 20 or 30, I haven't counted, of these videos. And the families aren't allowed to live in single-parent homes. No meat's allowed. You're not allowed to have a car. And this is all officially what the UN and our own government says they're setting up. You have to understand, people see these videos and they think this is a joke. No, this is what they're showing kids. See, you're an adult and have formed your own opinions back when we were more free. For a child, they just watch this and think, well, that's normal. Just like kids growing up under Hitler thought it was normal, or kids under the Aztecs thought cutting people's hearts out was normal. Going back to our guest, please continue, Rosa Koire, author and researcher, exposing Agenda 21, this total revolution against humanity by the bureaucratic tyrant eugenics class.
You said it. Well, you know what? The truth is the environmental movement has been hijacked. And you're seeing this in your schools, for instance, with outcome-based education. You'll see asset-based community development. That's coming your way. Wait till you see that. That's a questionnaire that you're going to fill out that's going to get you to do mandatory volunteering. Now, last time I thought about that, mandatory volunteering sounds a lot like slavery to me. But you see that volunteering is not going to be volunteering anymore. You'll be required to be to volunteer in order to get your kid into Little League, to be able to maybe work closer to home, to get your food. You'll be required in order to be a good citizen.
Oh, Obama has said to graduate high school you'll have to do it, and it's going to be domestic military, that's civilian corps. Yeah.
This is it, you know, exactly. You don't have to look far. If you know, these are things that it used to be, well, if you got busted doing something minor, you were going to pick up trash by the side of the road. That's mandatory volunteering. But now you find that if you're in school, you want to go to a good school, you're going to have to do some time working for nonprofits, right? So who's getting your free time? Who's getting your time for free, for nothing? The nonprofits. These are public-private partnerships that you are going to be volunteering mandatorily for.
And they're the NGOs competing with the free market, just like people working for 25 cents an hour in the prisons are competing and shutting down our society.
Right, and your tax dollars are going to fund all of this. You know, this is what happens with, for instance, redevelopment funds are going to pay for subsidized housing that is for-profit housing. So these are developers who are making money, and they're using your property tax dollars to do it. So this is an entire program. It's a huge plan. It's a global plan implemented locally, and it's using your transportation dollars, your property tax dollars, your income tax dollars to make this happen. And it's all about taking away your independence, taking away your food independence, your private property rights, your educational system. It's a whole life plan, and it is happening right now. You don't have to look far. You can fight it right in your town, and that's where you should fight it, locally, because that's where these plans are coming up. You'll find these regional plans right there in your city. You want to stand up and say, no, we will not be regionalized. We will not be Delphied. We will not allow our money to go for these plans that are just going to sink our economy and drive us further into debt and into foreclosure, so less of us will own property, and we'll have to move into those high-density developments.
Remember 3 years ago when the Copenhagen documents came out and it was designed to reduce population and shut down the third world, and so it didn't pass? Schwarzenegger was in USA Today, and now he leads the group for the UN. He said, don't worry, we implement at city, county, and state level. And that's what they're doing, and they sweep into town, buy off your politicians. They can buy them so cheap, you know, a couple million to the National Planning Commission, and it's over. They fly them for steak dinners in New York. It's over. Or they give their wife or husband a job. It's over. And they just literally sign us over to these crooks.
Yeah, well, they actually, you know what they'll do is they actually develop candidates for office right out of your neighborhood associations. They call you, they bring you in to, to show buy-in in a local community, and then they identify the good Germans, and they move them up the ladder. We have to call a halt to this. I don't want people to feel that they are helpless, that they can't fight this, because we are fighting it all across the nation, all of us.
Oh, yeah, the globalists have hit the panic button now. Now, I'm not for lying. But in some cases, when there's election fraud, there's covert ops. I think a lot of us should be public, but I think some people, business folks and others, should play along with these enemies because they are like a foreign power that's infiltrated, and we should infiltrate their groups and act like the most hardcore corporate fascist, laugh at the public, call them scum, because I've seen the locals do this when they don't know we're watching, and they'll actually put you in as mayor. Then you could turn on them. Do you think that's a good operation?
I don't know, but I do take their seminars and I read all of their documentation. And this is what you want to do, is educate yourself, because once people recognize that this is not a conspiracy theory, it's a fact and it's happening, you can get people on board quickly. And this is happening across the United States. I'm going all over the U.S. and speaking to groups, and people are ready and willing to get up and stop this. And we will win this. We will win this. We can do it. We're going to stop this in our country because we can't allow this to continue. We are losing our rights.
Incredible. Let's break down how we're winning and more of what life will look like in the compact cities and rural areas, how they plan to shut us down. I want to go over that. Just amazing. And I want you to come to Austin because, as you know, we're under attack. Hey, maybe we should fly you out here and have you here in studio and then have you speak to the locals, because we've got a great activist community that loves liberty, because you, Rose, are doing great. I had tried. All right, I'll be back live tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central, 12 noon Eastern. Rosa Koire will be back with us Thursday for an hour and a half, and we got some longer segments and more time to talk then. But, again, we've gone over a lot of info here. We're going to finish up with talking about what you can do and some more of the things they're doing at rural communities as well. Again, we're also going to tell you how to get her book and some of the websites you can visit to get involved. But absolutely, she is just out there really exposing these people, and a lot of other great folks are. That's why the globalists are hitting the panic button all over the corporate trader media now. They're saying, well, the UN is taking over for the earth. We are increasing your prices and stuff for mega corporations. You know, Enron and folks set this up. I mean, it's for the earth. And, of course, they said it was for the earth when Enron was stealing $1 billion a week or so a decade ago in California. But I have a short clip here of Mark Tursick. Well, first we're going to go to Obama. Mark Tursick was at the Eco Fest put on by the Austin Chronicle people, and he's the head of the Nature Land-Grabbing Conservancy. And he agreed to talk to our reporters after a speech, but when Darren McBreen brought up, well, Obama said he wants to shut down coal plants, he said, that's it, I'm not talking to you, and literally ran from our reporters. He ran. There was a whole press conference there wanting to talk to him. He heard that question. It was like a vampire at high noon. Again, whether you're for coal or not, it's about shutting down whatever they want and only letting GE operate. Here's the clip of Obama saying we're going to bankrupt coal. Here it is.
If somebody wants to build a coal-fired plant, they can. It's just that it will bankrupt them because they're going to be charged a huge sum for all that greenhouse gas that's being emitted.
Okay, that's enough there. We went to another guest asking him a question next. Now let's go to Mark Tursick with Darren McBreen, Infowars.com reporter, simply asking him a question, and he ran off. Here it is. This is, again, Mark Tursick. He is the head of the Nature Conservancy while they're getting that queued up there on the system. All right, here it is.
If you will, coal power plants. I'm just trying to get both sides of the story. But I want to know if you're familiar with President Obama's statement that he wanted to bankrupt the coal power plants.
I don't think I want to do this, all right? I'm going to pass. Thanks. Yeah, I'm not ready on this topic. And I don't really like the video.
Okay, so there's the clip, a little bit of low audio, but what do you make of that, Rosa Koire? Hold on, we didn't have you faded up. Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, when dams are unsustainable, and dams have been identified as being unsustainable, now that is clean power, right? Hydroelectric power, clean. But dams are being destroyed all over the United States right now. Over 1,000 dams have been destroyed in the United States right now because supposedly it's impossible for living things to survive in a dam area. So they're freeing these rivers and destroying clean energy at the same time. This is not an environmental program. They don't want you using that water. This is about destroying your opportunity, your ability to be independent. And they want to bring you into cities. Why? Because they want to control you, surveil you, monitor, and manipulate you. And who is doing it? Your government is doing it. Your city government, you'll have your National Association of Counties, your League of Cities, your the EPA is a partner, Smart Growth America. We're kicking ICLEI out across the United States. That's the International Council on Local Environmental Initiatives. And we are kicking ICLEI out of all of our cities and counties and states across the nation, and we are taking back our country and our government. That's what we're doing. We've got to all do it together. So when you hear ICLEI, International Council or for Local Environmental Initiatives, or local governments for sustainability, as they call it now, they are actually actively engaged in changing your local government so that you'll find your climate adaptation software, your climate protection campaigns. These are not environmental campaigns. They're designed to restrict your possibilities and your potential for using your property and your ability to be free and to speak out freely. These are all plans designed to destroy the possibility of dissent in our country. And that is what guarantees our freedom. Dissent and the ability to speak and move freely across our country. We need to stand up together. I have about 20 pages in my book of what you can do, and we are doing it across the nation. And this is Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, everyone's getting up and taking this on together, and we can do it.
Well, we can, and we had the fader down on the video player earlier because we're doing video and audio here for the radio audience for folks watching at prisonplanet.tv. We'll try it again. Here's the Nature Conservancy head who used to work at Goldman Sachs in helping third world countries. Well, you know how much they help them, and helping Europe. They help us all. They're good people. Give us your money. It's for the earth. Let us triple charge you. It's for the earth. Here he is when he was asked about Obama saying we'll bankrupt your coal power plants that supply more than half the power to this country. And here he is refusing to answer the question and running off from the press conference. Here it is.
I can get my question in there anyway, but these are more for the proponents, I guess, if you will, of coal power plants. I'm just trying to get both sides of the story. But I want to know if you're familiar with President Obama's statement that he wanted to bankrupt the coal power plants.
I don't think I want to do this, all right? I'm going to pass. Thanks. Yeah, I'm not ready on this topic, and I don't really like video because...
All right, we are back live, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. This is how these people are operating. It's what they're doing. Why do you think when he had that brought up to him that he ran? I mean, they're so used to the traitor media either being ignorant or not asking real questions.
That's it. This is you're inundated with propaganda all over the media. And when anyone asks a question that deserves a true answer, an honest answer, you're just not going to get that. In fact, right now, you'll be told that, oh, yeah, Agenda 21, right. Oh, that's a good thing. Oh, that Agenda 21, because it's coming out now. You know, your government used to say that you were a tinfoil hat nutcase if you even talked about it. But, you know, I've got it right here, actually. Here it is. This is the United Nations Agenda 21, put out by the UN. It's 300 pages, 40 chapters.
Well, Rosa, I've read it. I've got a copy as well. But here's the deal. They're admitting global government. They're admitting it's about population reduction. They're admitting it's to destroy the family. Germany, as you know, passed a law that all new homes built have to be dormitory style and no more single family dwellings in Germany. In fact, folks won't believe that. Search the term Germany bans single family dwellings. And then it says by, 2015 and then by 2020, totally no homes allowed for individuals. I mean, this is cult, brainwashing, Borg, hive mind, body snatcher level, crazy control freak, commune takeover.
That's right. You said it. And you know what? Your president and mine, Obama, committed the United States to reducing our greenhouse gas emissions 80% below 1990 levels by the year 2050. That, I've looked at the charts, that's going to put us back prior to 1934. Now, would your country want to create a situation where your industry and your energy production is put back before the World War II? And plus, if you look at it in terms of per capita, you're back in the 1880s.
Well, but wait, then they don't even allow real sustainable old-fashioned agriculture. They're harassing that. They allow the GMO, the toxic waste dumping, splicing, monkeys with 8 different species. They allow all this real stuff that's hurting the environment while just saying they're going to grab our property and not let us live our lives. It is incredible.
That's right. Get yourself into the center of the city. That's what they want you to do so they can watch you, surveil you, control you, take you away from your car so that you only go where they say you can go. And on these high-speed trains that don't exist and go nowhere if they do exist. And this is your future if you don't stop it now. We are stopping it now. We can do it. So, this is what's going to happen. You lose your food independence, your ability to speak freely, to move freely, and you have a country
They're already doing it with the TSA. We're losing $40 billion a year in tourism. People say, why are they doing it? They want to bankrupt the airlines. They admit they want to put taxes on aircraft for carbon tax. They admit they want to shut down freedom because that makes us independent. Incredible. Folks can find your book We have a link to it for Amazon.com and Infowars.com. But behind the green mask, Agenda 21, so important. I can't wait to have you on with this Thursday. But this isn't hype when you're saying we're starting to win. As you pointed out, Rosa, the system says we're winning and are freaking out. And just like we exposed their carbon tax, we're going to beat them on this. What's the best website for folks to visit to learn more?
Democrats Against UN Agenda21.com.
All right. Killer job. God bless you. Look forward to having you on Thursday. And Austin Groups and others, you need to get her to your town. See you back live tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central, Infowars.com. Great job to the crew. Watch my Whitney Houston video, what I have to say about the prescription drugs at Infowars.com.